Hello guys, we are students from Mapua University and for our art appreciation subject, we decided to just walk around Intramuros, record stuff that caught our eye and hopefully we will find stuff that's very interestingly beautiful, stuff that very artful stuff that we can appreciate because this is art appreciation.
This location is very beautiful, enough to pique our interest and take a slight detour, but sadly, the memorare actually stands for a very sad thing. It commemorates the innocent lives that was lost during the battle for the liberation of Manila, which was mostly known as the Battle of Manila, which was waged by the Filipino and American forces against the Imperial Japanese troops from February 3 to March 3 of 1945. After we took a look at that statue, we proceeded to follow the big structure from afar that resembled something out of Harry Potter. And spoiler alert, it was actually a cathedral. But not just any cathedral, this was the Manila Cathedral. The place it is located in generally has many interesting architecture and landmarks. It really gave a completely different vibe from the Intramuros we see every day as we commute to Mapua. It was very tempting to just explore these other structures, but for now we'll focus on this massive chapel right in front of us. So the reason why Manila Cathedral resembles something of the wizarding world of Harry Potter is because it shares the same architecture design, and that is the Romanesque design. And you can tell this because of the circular to semicircular arches and the window shape. Even the edgy dome-like tower sticking off the cathedral is very Romanesque. If seeing the outside makes you feel like we stepped into another world outside Intramuros, then stepping inside felt like the merging of wormholes because there were so many statues and design styles from different eras all gathered inside this cathedral. There were some Gothic structures, replicas of statues, beautiful stained glass mosaics, even some really ancient looking stuff made out of wood. That's because this building right now is the 8th Manila Cathedral. See, past Manila cathedrals for some reason kept getting destroyed by catastrophes, so it keeps on getting rebuilt throughout the ages, and this happens to be the 8th rebuild. As a result, the current version not only contains the new Romanesque design, but it also contains restored structures from the past Manila cathedrals. Hence why the cathedral functions as a full-time worship area and also part-time museum. One of the things inside Manila Cathedral that makes it even more interesting is a replica of the Pieta, which is one of the most recognized artworks of Michelangelo. This could be found inside the cathedral. This sculpture portrays the scene of the Virgin Mary cradled the battered body of Jesus Christ. The reason why it is displayed here in Manila Cathedral is because of the Filipino Catholics' strong affinity to Jesus and Mary's sacrificial love for mankind. It kind of reflects how Filipinos are very family oriented. In fact, statues like these are found in the Chapel of Mary Help of Christians and Our Lady of the Pillar, and it is grounded near the entrance of the cathedral. This chapel exhibits images and statues of saints, Blessed Virgin Mary, and other religious figures. You should really go check it out. Speaking of the entrance, from the entrance of Manila Cathedral, you can see a gorgeous view of the center of the square referred to as the Plaza de Roma. Its main highlight is the statue of King Charles IV, which stands facing the Manila Cathedral. And in all honesty, we really wanted to check this out first the moment when we visited Manila Cathedral because its atmosphere, it just invokes that this is the centerpiece of this entire block. And yeah, that's why we're going to look up on it now. Looking into its historical background, the statue was created as a token of respect, honor, and gratitude for the noble king. He earned our country's gratitude for the aid he provided when he sent us the first batch of smallpox vaccines. Amongst all the gigantic pieces of structure like the King Charles IV statue, we find an odd yet peaceful looking structure. It's like a small shed that anyone can walk through. One side has a shelf for pre-loved books, and in front of it is a long bench where you can probably read these books. This structure is called a pop-up library, which was created under the Bookstop project. Across Plaza de Roma, you can see a building with very interesting architectural design. This place is called the Palacio del Gobernador, also known as the Palace of the Governor. It is a government building located in Intramuros across Plaza de Roma, and it was built in 1976, and right now it is housing the Intramuros Administration, the Commission on Election, and the Home Development Mutual Fund National Capital Region Office. This also previously housed the Bureau of the Treasury. This site was where the former residence of the Governor General during the Spanish colonial era was located until an earthquake destroyed it in June 3, 1863. Our second destination is Fort Santiago, which is actually a 5 to 10 minute walk from Manila Cathedral. And while walking, you can still see the eye-catching dome of Manila Cathedral, and this is still even seen while you're still in Fort Santiago. It's actually quite interesting. Now, Fort Santiago is actually made out of two plazas, and one of this is the Plaza Moriones. This is the front plaza, which is the larger one that transitions visitors from the noisy street to the quiet one inside Fort Santiago's precinct, and it ushers them into the inner courtyard of Fort Santiago. Within Fort Santiago is the ruins of Almacenes Reales. This place is originally built for storing goods that were unloaded from the Pasig River, which was actually located very close to the Fort Santiago. These ruins were once a royal warehouse, but unfortunately was greatly damaged during the World War II. You can also see the ruins of the American barracks, and this was used as a military base by the American force during the American occupation that fought against the World War II, specifically against the Japan colonizers at the time, and up till now the barracks structure stands today despite the war during that time. The Bamboo Garden is a memorial of heroism found in Fort Santiago that respects and acknowledges the Filipino common folk that also fought bravely alongside our favorite heroes during World War II. It is a simple and inexpensive beauty that receives donations to beautify the memorial of these often forgotten heroes. Plaza de Armas is the only green area in Fort Santiago that is surrounded by plants and fort ruins. Historical evidence may suggest that this is the site where the wooden palisade of Raja Sulaiman was located. Speaking of Raja Sulaiman, this old building that is currently being renovated is the Raja Sulaiman Theater. It was once used by the Spanish military as barracks during their colonial period. It was also recognized as one of the country's prestigious theaters. The Rizal Shrine in Intramuros could also be found in the Fort Santiago. This was dedicated to the life work of Jose Rizal. Its location is where Rizal spent his final nights and hid his famous poem Mi Ultimo Adios, which was also known as My Last Farewell. The White Cross found near Baluarte de Santa Barbara is a memorial for the 600 victims of the Japanese Imperial Forces during the war. This cross is a marker for where the bodies of the victims were found. The dungeons of Fort Santiago, aka the Bateria de Santa Barbara, was a terrifying place before from Spanish period, American colonization, and Japanese occupation, where a lot of people were placed like Rizal before execution, and also where severe torturing was done, especially during the Japanese occupation. However, Fort Santiago not only houses depressing memories from the past, it also houses the Lego Education Center. And the Lego Education Center displays various miniature buildings of churches and offices here in Intramuros, which was built using Lego to form similar appearance to those buildings. Unfortunately, this was the end of our trip, walking around Intramuros because of the sudden downpour. However, it was quite the educational experience and very entertaining just strolling across Intramuros. It was very interesting experiencing a different side of Intramuros, much more different from what we're used to from traveling to the station to Mapua. And we hope that you learned something from this tour around the historic areas of Intramuros. And hopefully you guys will check some of these places out and try strolling around Intramuros, because there's so much more interesting buildings and structures that one can appreciate just by walking around the place.